Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Me, I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. We're gonna switch it up this morning again. I want to talk about something. Remember, we're just talking philosophy on this page. That's all we're doing. Just having this conversation about a multitude of things. Some are hard to talk about. Some are really easy and silly. Some are really important, I think. Maybe they're all really important, or none of them are. Who knows? It's philosophy. Today, I want to talk to you about relationships. Weird, right? And I've had a couple relationships in my life, a couple times that I've, thought I was in love or lust or those multitude of things that we find ourselves trying to deal with, and we coexist with somebody else. And I wanted to talk about it. I was going to give you my perspective, as it were, on what doesn't work. I'm pretty good at that. It's not that I have answers for anything or that, I'm ahead of anybody on the curve on where we should go with anything. I mean, just have ideas. And I know what doesn't work. I feel like somehow I'm viewed as being more intelligent than I am simply for being able to grasp things that don't work. This doesn't work. There's a better way. I heard about an easier way. This could probably work if we do it better that way. Why are we doing it this way when 12 other people are doing it that way over there? What's going on with this? Why aren't we doing it the most efficient, quickest way possible to have it be done? Huh? It's weird, right? It's how I look at the world. Just do the best we can do immediately, right? Everybody's like set because they get set in their ways with things. They get set in what they're familiar with, what they're comfortable with. And I think that this isn't right. I think that the idea of a relationship is tied in with your understanding of love. And there can be, listen, a relationship doesn't mean sexual connection, right? You can have relationships with people that you would never even consider wanting them to even see you naked. You know what I mean? Like real talk. But a relationship, to me, I'm going to build it from the base up, is simply, well, can I learn from you? And do you want to learn from me? I have a surprising amount of random useless facts with deeper understandings behind those, why those useless facts even exist, and why I've remembered them. I have no understanding of because they seem useless to me. But someone else could learn a bunch of things from me if they wanted to, on a bunch of different subjects that they were interested in. I could help them with that. And I have a bunch of things that I'm interested in, and I'd like to learn about new things that I've never even thought about. So to me, a relationship is based on the exchange of knowledge. As crazy as that sounds, it's how I've always based my friendships on people that I could trust is how much shared knowledge do we have? Because I think that the more shared knowledge you have with a person, it doesn't even matter if you started out understanding something, but if you share the knowledge and another person gains an understanding, if you have a repertoire of things that you core beliefs that you believe in, right? And they're constantly you're working that. I think that's what a relationship is finding people that you want in your life. Nothing more, nothing less. It's weird to talk about relationships like this because you want to talk about attraction, what they have, how they talk, how they dress, how they look, and none of you are ever happy. This is the problem: is you're not learning anything. You're stagnant, and that stagnation, in my humble opinion, is solely based on your acceptance of things that are like aren't for you. And so a relationship to me, no matter what, is always based on, is that dynamic possible? Not even that it exists, that things don't take time, somehow it's all instantaneous. I don't believe in any of that. Like, time is instantaneous. It's just observation. Time's not even time. Time is how we observe things. It's a measurement. That's what our version of time is. I think time is something else. But what we consider time is nothing more than human measurement of growth and decay. That's time. And I think that the ability to grow from that other person being in my life, I think that's what I consider a worthy relationship, worth putting my energy into, worth building on, worth exchanging energy. Okay. So to me, that's a relationship. It has nothing to do with anything else. You know, like literally, the only thing, in my opinion, that you could own that I'd be jealous of is if you got a bigger library. And I got the internet. It's a pretty big library. So you'd have to have like a bunch of books that I can't get access to online and no one else has either. And you have all of them. If that was truth, I would be envious of something you own in this world. I would. I would literally be envious of you. However, if by learning about this library, I would immediately befriend you with no qualms about being directly honest about the fact that I want to read your entire library and I'm going to live on your couch now. And we're going to be the best of friends. And I'm going to take up one space of your house, just smoking lots of pot and reading books that I've never even knew existed until I met you. And in doing so, I'll probably clean your house and do chores. I'll do all kinds of crazy shit you never even asked me to do, never even thought that you needed done. It'll just already be done because I'll be looking for ways to try to exchange the energy and the gift that you're giving me with new knowledge. I'll go out of my way to do anything I can. Acts of servitude is how I show love. Isn't that crazy? I could pick any way, but to show love, I try to like just do for others. I don't know how else, like, because they're already doing perfectly. And if just pulling that little branch out of their river lets them be perfect again, then I could do that, you know? And since I see everything is water, well, I can see where the ripples are. I can see where the problems are. If they're little ones that don't really matter either way, act of service, no problem. So to me, that exchange of energy is always mental, unless you're that person that has the book collection, in which case we need to become friends immediately and you need to send me a friend request and reach out and I'm gonna come live on your couch and I want to read your books. But short of that, maybe just make that a life mission to find new people that have a bigger library that I can't access. That'd be a life story, right? Just going around, just showing up at random people's houses and be like, I'm gonna sleep on your couch and read your library. And they just somehow concede to this fact like it was just supposed to happen. Sounds like a worthy adventure in life. You can only go so far with online education. You need somebody else with applicable experience in whatever it is you're trying to learn, and then they have to show you somehow. It's just my opinion. However, we're talking about relationships, and the point of the relationship to me is the exchange of energy that you grow from. And to me, I personally grow the best from knowledge. You see? because every other kind of like growth has been, weird in some way and hasn't been normal for me. So, but knowledge is a common denominator that I share with everybody else. So knowledge is important to me, I think. That's a relationship. Now, when you guys think relationships, and I'm just generalizing because I don't know any of you, but like, what do you think about relationships? What do you define it as? What do you expect? What expectations do you have when you get in a relationship? See how weird that is when you think about it and talk about it like it? We haven't even got into the dynamic of a relationship between a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a man. I don't give a fuck about all that. I don't care who you're fucking. Don't care. If I was going to be in a relationship, I'd be in a relationship with a woman. So what? Who cares who I'm fucking? However, there's no difference to me in the relationship vibe because the thing is if I was in dating a woman and we're in a relationship, right? Are we exchanging energy in which we both grow from it? And it has nothing to do with like monetary things. It has nothing to do with whether or not we're having sex. There's nothing to do with how attractive I think she is on a physical level or if it makes my dick hard. Who cares? I've never been happy in a scenario where that was what a woman brought to the table. In fact, you could say I've been in some pretty bad relationships thinking that based on physical attraction that somehow I would find love when there was no self-love. So now I've just and have for a long time. It's probably been single for so long and I've been celibate. Like I love women, but do they love themselves? This is the biggest thing for me is do they love themselves and in doing so bring to a relationship what I bring to a relationship, knowledge and respect and kindness and self-love. So it's the same thing I look for in real friends. That's why I have so few real friends because they don't meet the criteria. I can't say we're friends. And friends are different than relationships. Having a friend that you just randomly talk to or whatever, hang out with occasionally, have maybe a common interest that occasionally you both partake in at the same doesn't mean that you're in a relationship with that person. Doesn't mean that's your best friend. You see the difference? You don't have a group of best friends of people that are ride and die and like enhance your life. And if you do, you hang on to those people. You fucking go out of your way for them. They even complain about something, you try to help it. You don't even think about it because this you're in a relationship with this person. Doesn't matter if it's male or female. Somehow feeling good and sex seem to be some kind of driving force or factor in fucking a relationship. And the second you take out sex, what do you have to offer into the relationship? And if it's money, well, you strike two. We took out money, we took out sex. What do you got left? And if the answer is nothing, that's an immediate strike three. And so, like, this idea of a relationship, my version of it, my philosophy of free will in a relationship is the idea that, like, it's an equal exchange of knowledge and growth. Sometimes it can be negative. Sometimes it takes an outside reflection to show us that something about ourselves isn't fucking great and somehow we can't see it because we're being stubborn. I mean, there's a bunch of ways to get emotionally or mentally blocked and be just stuck, staring in the mirror going, why don't I feel good? Because you're being a dumbass. So if you don't have relationships with other people, then those times that you need other people to reflect for you, to show you where it is that you're like fucking up, you don't have it. I think that's a big reason why relationships are so superficial nowadays, because there's no accountability. It's, I didn't like that you said that about tacos. So we're not in a relationship anymore. We never were. You were just taking up space in my life. If my comment about tacos ruined it for you, you were never supposed to be around me in the first place. You see how that works? You see how discernment becomes very easy? You talk about relationships as something other than instant gratification through sexual delinquency, through an emotional punching bag, if it were, right? Or you need a mom or a dad again. All of these like things, these unhealed traumas. Are you really trying to date people and then put this baggage in their house? See, that's the thing, is I don't think you should reward yourself for doing wrong. I don't think I don't think I don't think it works like that. I think somehow there's some kind of karmic twist that happens when you do things like this. And I think if you put yourself into relationships, you get people fall in love with you, and you get people care about you and all these things, and you're really just a piece of shit, and you know you're a piece of shit, but you just decide that, like, fuck it, I'm lonely. I think you're the problem and why relationships are so hard to accomplish. I think that's why it's so hard to have authentic connections with human beings, because there's so many people that just, they've been traumatized and they're unhealed, and like that part sucks. But instead of fixing it and taking it seriously, and there's multitudes of people that don't look like me and don't talk like me that speak along the same lines. There's all kinds of psychologists that have different views into it, and some of them align with some of the stuff I've said. There's a lot of philosophy that would probably agree with what I've said. It's just kind of updated and twisted a little bit. It's been changed for the times, but like, you could say that a lot of the things I say aren't real crazy and out there. They're pretty close to what people have been saying through all the time, all together. But I think, and remember, this is just my opinion, I think that not knowing yourself, well, you still chose to be in a relationship. You still chose to bring another person into your life. You still chose to expose them to trauma that you can't even deal with. And then somehow it's that person's fault for reacting negatively to what you did to them. And then on top of it, because of their reaction, you then play victim, because you brought a bunch of negative, ugly, evil shit into another person's life. And when they didn't just let you just stab them and shit on them and piss on them and kick them and everything else, you're then the victim of them. Well, let's just say that I met people like that. It's really hard to make authentic connections with people and be in a relationship, friend or otherwise, with anyone, when it seems like there's so many people that don't understand that what they're doing and how they're presenting themselves and how they're interacting with the world, well, it's self-destructive. It's very self-destructive. You know, they say if you're scared, go to church, or if you want friends, go to church. But I'm not scared and I don't want friends, so I can't find a church that I would ever participate in. A relationship to me is a good thing. There's so many positive benefits to interaction. The human hug, for some reason that we still don't understand, 15-second hugs. You can't beat them. You can't beat them. It comes with a relationship. Having somebody to talk to that cares about how you feel. For women, it doesn't really matter because women, everybody cares about how every woman feels, especially, guys. They really care, right? But very few people care about how a man really feels. And a man is lucky if he encounters even one person that truly deeply cares how he feels. He's blessed. And that's something that you get in a relationship, a real one, not a fake one, or something that's, you know, stable, it has merit. So I wanted to talk about relationships today, and not in a way that most people talk about them, because I don't I don't know how else to explain to you that, like, looks fade. Looks fade. And the mindset of someone when they're younger will be firm when they're older. So if they're fucking shitty and whorish and lying and conniving and all the crazy weird things that human beings seem to do nowadays, because it's socially acceptable to get over on people. In fact, that's the come up, is to get over on someone else. That when they're old, they'll be burnout versions of that person. You got to be aware of that. You have to be willing to, like, they used to say, if you date a girl, make sure you meet her mom, because her mom's all tore up out of the frame and really overweight and stuff. Then that's what the daughter's going to look like later in life. But I say to you, if you don't look at how a woman was raised and who her parents were and how they acted and what they believed in and how they believed religiously and how they believed, if they believed in anything at all, military, like all of those factors, all the psychological factors, you better be real cautious before you say you're in love with somebody. You better do some investigation into finding out who someone is and whether or not it broke them, or they broke the mold because they were like, nah, I can do way better than that. I think that relationship aspect's important, and it's just based on how someone thinks. And I think personally, the way that someone thinks determines on whether or not I want them in my life for any capacity whatsoever. It's like when you just want to be a dirtbag, you just want to do drugs, you just want to, you don't care. You look for people that enable that behavior. And I think that should also be true if you're in self love and self healing and everything. I think that you shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't celebrate that mindset, that doesn't also subscribe to the crazy idea that fish love isn't real love, that real love is just acceptance. And, like, I think that you should do yourself the service of trying at least once in your life to start with the relationship with yourself. And until you've built this version of a relationship, like I've been talking about, with yourself, with your own soul, with how you think and how you act and how you talk, I don't even think you should consider the concept of a relationship with anyone else. I think that the idea of having friendships is probably where you need to sit at for a while until you figure it out, because a relationship is about coexisting with people and you all have self love. That's a real relationship. And anything less than that is not a relationship. It's not even worth being called a relationship. It's called a situationship. Sometimes they talk about, toxic people get together and they're having sex, but a situationship is where you're like, there's 10 thieves in the room and you're all after one thing, so you're all working together, but there's 10 thieves in the fucking room, and the chances of 9 of you dying, or maybe all of you, is pretty fucking high because all 10 of you are thieves. I don't think any dynamic that needs to take away from who I am as a human being is a healthy relationship. I don't think that anyone that makes me feel less so they can feel level, instead of it being a conversation that leads to new understanding and we're both still level. I think any kind of needing to power shift me in any kind of way, shape, or form, or not treat me like I'm already on my own level and no one else can be here, no one else can fit my shoes, no one else wears my socks. It's just me and you're in yours, and there's no above or below. We're all living on the same fucking world. I think that relationships are very serious things. And I think they can destroy people. And I think that they can heal the world. I think it's a very powerful button on the joystick. Is choosing to put your energy and your time and your thoughts and your love into other people. I think that's important. I think it's probably the next thing I'm going to manifest into my life is real connections with people that aren't so toxic. It took a long time to let all the toxic people see themselves out. And I'm a stoner, so I can just waste as much time as I need just getting baked, let it all unwind. I don't even notice. It's been a week already. You know what I mean? And there's never an imbalance. There's only movement of energy, if you believe in that thing. So if I let all the toxic people go, then that means new people come in. And if I now have discernment about what I believe in, especially in regards to relationships with other people, the idea that my life will ever look like that again is ridiculous, because I took relationships seriously. And the first one that I've taken seriously is with myself, finally, after a few years, one or two at least. And I think that's important, and I thought it was important enough to make a video about. I thought it was important enough to share with you, and hopefully hear back from you, and maybe get even another perception on relationships that maybe I haven't gotten yet, that some other reason they're important, or another way to look at them to help you further have discernment about who you should be in a relationship with. I think it's pretty self explanatory, but I like new ideas. So feel free to share. I keep getting views, no likes, but also no disagreements. It's funny. I got one video where one guy made one comment about my face tattoo, and that was it. I got almost 600 views, and only one person's talked negative. But nobody's really responded. Nobody's really put their 2 cents in. How can 600 people watch me speak and not have anything to say? Inquiring minds want to know.